Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope you're all keeping well. So, today I'm going to talk about something which I get asked quite a lot of the time over the years. Well, in fact, I get asked so many times. What is my secret? What's my secret to adhering and sticking to my diet for all these years? Go to the gym day in, day out, no matter how I feel, planning everything, and there is no secret in this bodybuilding world. However, the one thing I do put my success down to and my long career down to is discipline. And that is, I believe, the most powerful tool, if you like, that you can have if you're to going to be successful at anything. Not just bodybuilding, any walk in life, anything related to success, you have to be disciplined. And now I don't really see a lot of that, and I try and preach that to my clients, along with my other favourite word, which is consistency. But discipline is the one where it must be carried out in order to achieve your goals and give yourself the best possible chance to succeed in what you do. So for me personally, I am so lucky and grateful that my parents taught me this from such an early age. And when I say discipline, I don't mean they used to be horrible to me and they used to lock me in a room and be really strict and horrible. No, no, quite the opposite. But they did teach me morals, and there was rules, and there was things we had to do whether we liked it or not. And that ran in my family, and it's still, I'm very grateful for that from right up to now. But also, what happened was my dad took me to martial arts from, I think I was 11, 12 year old. I was 12-year old. And I believe that my martial arts experience and background was a massive, massive key and impacted on how I went about and was able to do my bodybuilding career, um, to such a high level consistently. Because we all know how hard it is to stick to the same foods day in, day out, get yourself up at 5 in the morning, um, when you really want to stay in bed because you're tired, all those kind of things. But the lessons that I got taught and the discipline that I got taught from A, my parents, and B, for doing martial arts, that to me is worth its weight in gold and is the key to how I have been able to carry on this brilliant career and enjoyment of the sport like for so long. So it's embedded in me now, and that is really my secret. If there is a secret, that is my secret to success. The discipline to get up. Now, if I go back to my martial arts sorry, the time that I did martial arts, it was karate that I did, and my dad took me. I was 12-year old, and he took me to the adults class. Now there was only, I think, 12 was the youngest age in the adults class. Why I wasn't allowed to go to children's class, I do not know. There wasn't anything on me, as in weight wise. I was something like £100, stick thin, and I remember going in at that time. You were a bit humiliated as well. Like, but again, this for me was good. We were humbled basically. So it was a very, very strict traditional karate club where we had to bow as we entered the dojo, and there was no talking in English. If we had to speak to our instructors, or it was always in Japanese, which so basically I didn't dare speak when I first started because I didn't even know how to say anything. But as I progressed in that, I learned key words, and I became disciplined through that anyways. So even things like we would train for 3 hours and we were not allowed to have a drink, we were not allowed to rest. And yeah, it sounds, I don't, well, you wouldn't be allowed to do that right now, because of all these rules and regulations. But I was thrown in the deep end, 12-year old. I mean, I didn't even have a karate suit when I went. I used to turn up a t-shirt and tracksuit bottoms, and then so I stuck out like a sore thumb. I had everyone else. Well, then at the time, I think there was only one other person who didn't have a karate gi. That's what they call a karate suit, karate gi on. So there's me and this other guy who had a t-shirt on and tracksuit bottoms. So we were the newbies. So obviously when you do your fighting and sparring, it's like, hey, like, you know, go and pick on the newbies and like make them frightened of you and fearful. And it was a bit of an eye opener. And I remember getting paired up with this brown belt, and to me at the time, he was a giant. I mean, I'm not the tallest of people anyway, but bear in mind I was only 12. It was my first time, and we were thrown in the deep end to have a sparring session. And this guy must have knocked me on the floor, goodness knows how many times. And I was like, I kept getting back up. And then at the end of the session, my dad came and picked me up, and he said, "So, did you enjoy it then?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I loved it. When's the next one?" So even from then, you know, I look forward to the next session. I used to train for karate, so it was Sunday morning for 3 hours. That was my first time of going. 3 hour sessions on a Sunday morning from 10 till 1. I always remember, because my mum had the Sunday dinner ready for when I finished. And then eventually I got, my dad bought me my karate suit, and I worked my way up the ranks. But still, it was a very male-dominant environment. I think when I eventually reached my last belt before I turned black belt, there was still just one other really, what I would call a serious female, who would be there religiously, and she used to batter me around. She broke my nose. 2 other instructors broke my nose. I can see that's why my nose is so bent now. And they used to say to me, "Listen, Wendy, if you don't go to the gym and start getting, you know, a little bit stronger for yourself, you're going to end up getting really hurt." And I was like, right, okay. And then so I decided at that point, and that's what made me go to the gym. But it was great times, and my dad and mum were forever at A&E picking me up from broken bones, asthma attacks, but it never put me off. It just made me want to do it even more, and to prove a point, I guess, because I'm a bit like that. If people say, "Oh, you're too small," or "You're not big enough," or "You're not strong enough," you won't last, you'll get hurt, blah, blah, blah. I will, if I feel passionate about what I'm doing, I will go out of my way to prove them wrong. And I've kind of done that all the way through my career. So there were the Sunday morning sessions, and then we had grading practice nights on a Wednesday night, which were, I actually used to get really frightened, because there was one sensei who was like, he had the most boniest of elbows and knees and toes, and he used to, every time we used to be made to spar with him, we would always end up hitting these big bony elbows and crunching our knuckles and our toes against these knees and stuff. And he used to make us play football with a proper football in our bare feet to toughen our feet up. And man, it used to hurt, and I broke my toes. But again, I was like, no, like, you either break or you find a way to come back stronger. And I was always back the next session, and eventually over time, excuse me, I used to get stronger and even more determined to say, right, you're not kicking me down. And then we used to have to do this drill where we stood in a line against the wall, men, women and child, but again, like I said, there wasn't that many women in or kids, and we used to have to stand there and tense our core, and the nasty instructor would come around and he'd kick us in the stomach. We'd have to practice our ki, which is the sound that comes out when you make contact with things, to strengthen our abs up. And again, you wouldn't get away with that right now, but I loved it. It used to make me like, oh, I used to absolutely love it. And things like that just made a discipline of standing there in the line up in our positions. We were not allowed to, like in a lunge position with our arms out going through the basic movements and the katas and things. We were not allowed to straighten our legs to rest. If our arms dropped down, they'd come and kick us. They'd foot sweep us to the floor. I mean, I didn't have to come back, but I chose to come back because I knew it was good for me. It was kind of addictive. I had this like, I don't know, the harder it was, I think I'm just weird. The harder it was, the more I thrived off it, and that stood with me all the way through my bodybuilding career. Um, those early mornings at 4:30, and sometimes I used to get up, go out because I didn't have a treadmill at home in the early days. I used to go out in the snow, rain, hail or shine. I was out there doing my cardio. Doesn't matter what weather it was, I was out. So again, it's all about the discipline. You know, my dad used to take me to karate, but when I was old enough, I drove there myself. When all my friends at school and college were going out on the lash, getting drunk and this, that, and the other, no, I'm going to karate, and I drove myself there. 4 times a week, I ended up going, and that was me. And then I went to the gym, obviously, to get stronger, and I did get stronger, and I ended up being really good at karate. I fought for England. I did used to get disqualified quite a lot of times, however, um, but that's another story. So yes, so my point is, guys, discipline is is absolutely a vital component in your training, in life in general. If you can be disciplined consistently, then you will get there. You will achieve what you want to achieve if you're disciplined. Be disciplined to yourself. Okay, it's alright having goals, um, and aspirations and things like that, which is absolutely brilliant. But you need the discipline to get you there, because trust me, there's days when you will not want to do this. Say if you're prepping for a show, there'll be days when you look out and think, oh, I'm too tired, I've got cardio to do, I've got leg session to do, I'm on low carbs, I'm exhausted, this hurts, that hurts. That's when discipline comes in. And if you're not used to it, then you best get used to it, because that's what's going to see you through. Even in the off season, if you can flip that, when not necessarily prepping, but even in the off season, you have to be disciplined as well to eat. I think I had this conversation with one of my clients last week. She's in an off season trying to gain phase, and sometimes eating enough in the off season, especially for a female, is difficult. And again, you have to be disciplined with that meal. You know, just because the off season doesn't mean you eat sloppy. But it's sometimes you look at your plate of food in front of you and you're like I can't eat this, but you do, because you know if you have to do that to reach your goals. So it's being disciplined to do what sometimes you don't necessarily want to do, but you need to do to get where you want to be. Okay, guys, so that's my little rant and my experience on discipline and my secret, if you like. There is no secret, but hard work. But I do absolutely firmly believe that discipline is a massive key to being successful. So stay strong and stay disciplined.